What we're able to do at Icon is to find attractive opportunities.
If you have operational assets today and you manage them correctly and put the right capex in there, they could turn into evergreen facilities.
We're living in a difficult market, so we have to dig very deep to find those opportunities.
Sanitary waste is a very niche market, something that we tried to purchase for a long time, and this was the first chance we've ever got to get one.
So from that context, an important transaction. EcoEridania is our first investment in Icon 4. It's our first deal in the waste sector. Both the size and sector fit our strategy very well. It first came up really through the work in the sector and in Italy of Enes and Ivana.
We went down to Italy to talk about a variety of investment opportunities. We met asset owners, we met advisors. But when we came across EcoEridania, we were quite excited. It was a different kind of business.
We found that it was a very interesting market positioning of the company. They are leading in the sanitary waste processing.
It controls about 50% capacity from a disposal perspective as well as from a collection perspective. It's the only business of that scale that's operating in an integrated manner.
It was privately owned in a sector where we have found a lot of public entities.
Here was a company that had proven that it was able to get its EBITDA from 6 million to 30 million in about 5 years through a series of successful acquisitions. Here was a business that had identified several growth avenues that it was keen to execute on.
And there was also a strong management team led by the CEO, who is also the founder of the business. Very passionate and also very knowledgeable about the sector, having worked in this industry for more than 30 years.
The more we learned about EcoEridania, the more time spent with management and staff, it was becoming very clear for us that EcoEridania would be a good investment for Icon. When we identified the opportunity and subsequently learned more about it, we shared our investment thesis with senior management right away.
First impressions were that Andrea Giustini, who is the CEO and entrepreneur behind the business, was an extremely passionate, dynamic entrepreneur. The business had been developed really under his leadership, and we saw him as a very strong future partner for us.
La mia azienda nasce nel 1988 da una mia idea e di mia sorella Rossella. Il percorso è stato lungo, faticoso. Noi oggi siamo un'azienda importante nel nostro settore, anzi possiamo dire di essere la più grande azienda italiana nel campo della raccolta, trasporto e smaltimento dei rifiuti di origine sanitaria e probabilmente europea.
Through good positioning, we were able to actually use our network of relationships to get in front of the sellers, and we were able to persuade them to enter into bilateral discussions.
It was a difficult negotiation. The seller was a sophisticated party, and we had to negotiate under a very tight timeline, in parallel with complex due diligence, given the nature of the business and also given the fact that there was no due diligence from the vendor side.
So effectively we had to build everything from scratch from a due diligence and analysis perspective. The good news is the company was very responsive and handled our requests in a timely manner.
On the other side, we had to negotiate governance and management incentive with the CEO, and in parallel developing a relationship with him.
The key was building a partnership with Andrea Giustini. And that takes time and it takes effort to build that trust. We invested a lot of time in doing that. We were able to convince Andrea that we were the right partner for the business. We had some very good references from our existing investments in Italy.
They thought Icon was a reputable investor with also a local footprint in Italy, which was quite important for the CEO and partner. We managed to agree on key terms and enter into exclusivity in January, and we managed to deliver on quite a tight timeline with the signing of the transaction documentation by the end of April.
We need to make sure that all of our assets across all of our portfolios, health and safety is number one. And in this particular asset, it was a pleasure to see that there was a systems in place and to a good standard.
Here we were looking at a company that had a fantastic asset base.
24 facilities across 17 regions. It's not only just a waste-to-energy business, it's a significant logistics business as well.
In the south, the main asset is Biosud in Lecce. It's got a capacity just under 8,000 tons per year for incineration.
Across to Sardinia in the south, in Cagliari, which is at the airport, an incineration facility there. All the way up to the very north in Spilimbergo, which is a significant 25,000 tons per year hazardous waste incinerator. There is areas of collections, there is areas of transfers across Milan, all the way down through to Bologna, and then the largest asset, which is Mangozzi, 32,000 ton incinerator, which is really by far the most technically advanced asset of the whole portfolio.
What's quite incredible about that facility is that it's got redundancy in all aspects of its operation, which means that facility runs 365 days a year. Even when parts are being served in an outage, other parts are able to sustain operations. The other part of the operation that's very impressive with Mangozzi is that it's completely automated.
That provides a benchmark, really, for the rest of the portfolio to aspire to.
Mangozzi was EcoEridania's main competitor before it was acquired in 2016. So its inclusion in the EcoEridania portfolio was quite momentous for the business.
The fundamental thing which excites me about this is that these particular assets are permitted, they are operational, and they are needed. So as long as you put enough energy, enough capital into these assets, they could be evergreen. Because in Italy, there is not an appetite to build brand new incinerators in new greenfield developments. Where Icon comes into its own with this business and how we can work together with Andrea is that we have the ability to screen things very quickly across all types of asset spaces, and definitely including waste to energy. What we bring is the speed of execution and the ability for him to deploy equity fast. That allows him to execute his growth strategy and his plan. That's the real synergy between the two of us.
From a financing perspective, when we looked at the business and actually the current structure in place now, it's fairly complex, to be honest. So there are around 10 subsidiaries which we model on an individual basis. There are various bank loans across the subsidiaries. I think there are more than 40 loans in total. And there's also a bond in place that was used to finance acquisitions that took place in the past.
We are in the process of undertaking a refinancing of the business. The objective of that is to increase the tenor of the financing, reduce the cost, and also simplify the financing structure, which will better enable the business to grow going forward.
The benefit of the refinancing is to lower the interest costs. The bond in place is fairly expensive, so by refinancing that we can slash the interest costs quite significantly, which is going to be value accretive for ourselves. EcoEridania is the clear market leader in the sanitary waste sector. Around 82% today of the volumes are derived from sanitary waste, primarily coming from public and private hospitals.
Il nostro business è un business di servizio, quindi è ritenuto un servizio essenziale. Proprio per questo motivo non ha nessuna contaminazione dal punto di vista dei momenti politici. Incide pesantemente l'invecchiamento della popolazione. La popolazione italiana invecchia e di conseguenza ci si ammala di più e di conseguenza c'è più bisogno di ospedali.
If people are ill and need to go to hospital, that's what they need to do. The regulations in this sector are getting tougher. So The bigger companies are frankly better able to provide the service to the major hospitals and clinics that is required. So far, we're very happy. We anticipated growth in our investment case, but just based on very recent discussions that we're having with management and transactions that they are looking at actively, I think we will be exceeding our growth plans.
When I look out 5 or 10 years, I'm excited by the prospect of the business that EcoEridania can become through further consolidation in its markets.
Socio Icon vuole che l'azienda sia azienda, vuole che ci siano tutti i più alti requisiti di sicurezza, qualità e tutela del patrimonio aziendale, ed è perfettamente condiviso con me e profondamente apprezzato dalle persone che lavorano in azienda.
We're very excited about the opportunities that we see in the market. We continue to look at new sectors, but sticking to our core principles of seeking to find attractive risk-adjusted return investments on behalf of our investors. We see significant opportunities for Icon, so I think the future is looking very exciting.